Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we're back.
Yeah.
Yes, once again, big surprise. Once a week. I know. I keep acting like it's some kind of huge shock we return, but it kind of is in a way.
Well, it's surprising for me because this is our busiest season and we don't do anything outside of haunt-related stuff.
Oh, this is haunt-related.
I know it's haunt-related. But
Shut up, Jonathan.
all year is different.
Stress may be mounting a little here at Haunt Weekly HQ.
Maybe.
Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. But yes, we are back for another episode of Haunt Weekly, and we're going to do an episode on our season so far, since we are in the weeds of everything.
Right.
Both in building our haunt, in attending haunts, in reviewing haunts,
right,
and doing this podcast, and also day jobs.
Yay!
Yeah, I just got back from Washington, D.C. That was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, since we're in the thick of all that, we just kind of wanted to talk about what we've seen and experienced so far. We are recording this actually the day it's going to go live this time around, which is kind of unusual for us. So it's the 10th. I figure mathematically we're about halfway through our haunt season this year.
Right.
Give or take. And therefore, now's a good time to have a moment of reflection and do some zen. And join the resistance. I know, bad joke.
It's okay.
My joke is bad, and I should feel bad. Yeah. But anyways, first thing is first, we are going to do conference reminders as usual with these types of things, and then we will jump in. Actually, first after that, I know we normally wait till number 4 episodes to do news, but this time of year the news is coming fast and furious.
Yeah, there's so much of it. We want to at least touch on some things. I know that we've got a longer discussion about this
coming up. This is something worth discussing, I think, immediately, because it does. We're going to cover one story, maybe another. But yeah, this is something well worth discussing as we just go into our haunt season and think about safety, security, not being sued, those kinds of things. So it's a story well worth discussing, and we'll get to it in a minute. But first off, conference reminders. Well, Crystal, would you like to do the honors since you found this one?
Sure. Coming up very soon.
This week, actually.
Yeah.
This is a new one on our list. We apologize for not learning about it sooner, but we cannot be everywhere on the internet because some places are scary.
Yes, scarier than haunts. October 15th through 16th, we've got How to Halloween. It's in Lansing Center in Lansing, Michigan. It's a family-friendly festival that celebrates creative and DIY spirit of haunting. Kicks off with a zombie walk, features how-tos for large displays, decorations, makeup, and more. Tickets are just $5 or $7
at the show. Yeah, $5 in advance, $7 at the door. And I gotta say, I was reading about this.
Yeah.
I wish it were not in the middle of haunt season for me.
I know.
This sounds so flipping awesome.
It sounds right up our alley.
It does, because it's all about tutorials and how to do everything from makeup jobs to building huge props. And it's a family-friendly event, but especially if you're a new or a wannabe haunter,
right?
This looks like a great thing to do. If you're in the area and you are available, please check it out. And if you are the organizer of this event, consider making it like a month earlier at least, so people like us can go. I would love to be at this. And they also have a whole bunch of robotics exhibits too. It's just awesome. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
it
sad
sounds
we didn't
like
learn about
it does target more of the home haunt community.
Yeah.
Than the big pro ones.
And at $5 a ticket.
Yeah.
$25 for a family pack.
Yep.
Come on. These guys are awesome. All right. But after season, at a time more reasonable for us haunters to go to, the legendary Haunt Tour is taking place November 11th through the 12th. It's in Pittsburgh at the Fallmont, Pittsburgh. It's hosted by the Transworld People. They will be visiting the Scare House and Haunted Acre Manor. Learn more at legendaryhaunttour.com. And by the way, I forgot to add it to the notes. This is completely my fault. How to Halloween is at howtohalloween.com, I believe. Hang on, I'm checking that. No, actually it's not. Oh shoot, I totally forgot to add it to the notes, and now I've lost the conference. And you sent it to me too, so I'll get that before the end of the show. I apologize.
Yes, it will be in the show notes, and maybe we'll post it in the comments on the Facebook page too.
Yes, so
as you. Jonathan, obviously was prepared.
Well, we had a bit of a topsy-turvy with this episode. It was going to be one thing, and now it had to be another very suddenly. So
yeah.
It's not entirely my fault. We had to...
Not entirely,
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fault, honestly.
Then... next year, beginning in 2017, January 14th through 17th, we have Halloween and Party Expo. It's right here in New Orleans. If you're coming to that, look us up. We would love to meet you guys and hang out some.
Okay, and that's it. I'm sorry. I was right but wrong at the same time. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
It has 350 vendors, requires business verification. HalloweenPartyExpo.com is where to go to find out more about these guys.
Yes.
Now, where do we go to find out more
about Halloween? It's how-to-halloween.com. My side notes were wrong on that. My apologies. My apologies to Crystal for interrupting. I'm playing the part of Donald Trump in this debate.
Apparently.
It's huge.
We're not getting into politics. We don't do that.
We don't do that, but still. I'm the interrupter in this one.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
My apologies. But if Halloween and Party Expo here in New Orleans is not your speed, maybe you'd like to head to Hawaii. Specifically, multiple islands in Hawaii. The big island, and I can't remember the other one. I believe it's Maui and Oahu are the two islands. For the Corn Party, January 17th through the 20th. It's for operators of corn mazes. You can learn more at The Maze, THEMAIZE, like maze, like, corn.com. I know, so predictable of a pun, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyways.
Then January 26th through 30th, it's HauntCon. Nashville, Tennessee at the Sheraton Airport. Tours of Haunted Hell Nashville on Thursday night, January 26th. Nashville Nightmare on Saturday. And Slaughterhouse. HauntCon.com is where to go to find more information.
Sounds great. And then one of the big shows, Transworld's Halloween and Attraction Show.
HauntCon's a big show, too.
It is, too. That's one of the big shows.
I know.
Okay, I didn't mean to
I'm going to let you finish, but...
Okay. Man, we're taking turns with it this week, aren't we? Anyways, after that, it's Transworld, the Halloween and Attraction Show. It is in St. Louis, Missouri, at the America Center. Early bird discounts are now between now and March. It's one of those basically not buying at the door deals. You get $50 off your ticket, and you can find out more at the HAShow.com, HAASHOW.com. It stands for Halloween and Attraction Show, but we're saying it in funny and amusing ways to us.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I think they've gotten the joke now.
I hope so. It's only been like 5 weeks in making it.
Yeah. All right. So then June 8th through 11th, we have Midwest Haunters Convention. It's going to be in Columbus, Ohio. Haunt tours are still TBA. MidwestHauntersConvention.com for more information.
And to be fair, the Haunt Tour is TBA because it's in June.
Yes.
We're looking almost a year out now, so I think that's a little fair.
I think people are probably more interested in getting through this season than setting up those tours right this second.
Yeah, and having met some of the people behind the conference...
Yeah.
That is definitely the case.
Yeah.
They're very excellent haunters, and they are doing great work, and they're probably trying to make sure their crew is cared for and their customers are entertained.
Yeah.
That is what I hope. But anyways, first a programming note. The conversation with Japes on haunt acting and haunt actor management will resume, we promise.
Yes.
Scheduling conflicts prevented it from happening this week. It is that time of year.
Yeah.
Scheduling conflicts abound.
Yeah.
Like I said, we are wearing, more hats than a haberdashery.
Yeah.
So, we are definitely slammed up, but we will work a time to meet with Japes and finish that conversation soon. It may be after season, though. Do not be surprised if that is when it happens.
Oh.
Hopefully it'll happen sooner.
Yeah, I was thinking it was happening later today, but, whatever.
Well, we'll see. We will see when we're able to schedule it in. So yeah, first thing is first this episode, a quick news item. This one was actually thrown at us by Japes, but also we've heard it from other sources too. There was an incident at Hell's Gate Haunted House in Las Vegas that is causing a stir in the community.
Right.
Hell's Gate is a quote-unquote R-rated haunted attraction known for foul language and having people sign waivers as they go in that they may be incidentally touched and they may have these other things happen to them.
Right.
One of the actors in there, Michelle Bullis, was doing a fairly straightforward startle, hiding in a dark room in a camo suit, basically, from the sound of it.
Yeah.
Came up behind a mom and adult daughter and then took an elbow to the face.
Yeah.
And she, from this elbow, received a broken nose. And she's claiming the customers were drunk and aggressive before the incident. However, the customers are claiming that they were...
Actually, the owner was claiming they were drunk and aggressive in line.
Okay, fair enough.
And that he probably shouldn't have let them in.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood who that was.
Yep.
The owner said that, but one of the women is claiming that they were groped by the actress.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the cameras did not catch the incident. They didn't have a quote-unquote good view of it.
Yeah.
Now, there is a lot to unpack in just a few minutes worth of conversation. We will be
discussing this more in depth with Japes.
Yes. This is definitely something we want to talk about with him because he'll have some additional insight here. I want to say this from our perspective, though. The issue that I find most worrisome is that they were let into the haunt.
Yep. That
is like 90% of my problem here.
Yeah. Because if somebody's acting that aggressive in line, yeah, don't do that. There's also other problems with this story. I mean, because there's so many fail points that could have had this story ended differently.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, and like I said, the stuff we're going to talk about with Japes, I'm sure, but it's stuff like actor retreat spaces.
Right.
Actor awareness, making sure that you're not in the range where you can get hit like that.
Right. Well, not only that, but there's also the issue of why wasn't security contacted to escort them out instead of her trying to do it herself.
Yeah.
Because it was, she got the broken nose when she actually grabbed the customer's arm to try to get them to leave.
Yeah. And, of course, then you have the issue of the security cameras.
Yeah.
Not being able to get a view of what was going on.
Right.
I mean, I get it. Haunted attractions are big places. They're cavernous, lots of corners. It's going to be very difficult to get a security camera that covers everything. But you need to.
Yeah.
This is important for this exact reason.
Yep.
And this could end very, very badly for this haunt. Now, basically, Michelle Bullis is saying that she just wants it to go away and just wants to move on. And it's unclear how these two women feel, these two customers feel. So there may be more news about this, unfortunately, for the haunt down the road.
Yeah.
And then that, like I said, it's a very frustrating story. Japes, I'm sure, will have some great things to say about it. Really looking forward to talking about it. But since it's kind of a key, it's one of those rare moments where our industry makes true national and like major news.
Yeah. Because
I've seen multiple sources on this one. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, our haunt season so far.
Yay.
Okay, now, obviously we've been working on our haunt, and we're getting ready. We open on the 28th.
Right.
Coming along very good, I think, actually. We seem to be in a decent position.
Yeah.
Could be better.
Be ready.
Could be better. Could be a lot worse. We've been a lot worse at this point. But yeah, we've also been to either 7 or 8 haunted attractions, depending upon how you break them up. Basically, whether you break up 13th Gate and Necropolis 13.
Right.
And it's been a very interesting year for us attending haunts. It's been kind of a topsy-turvy year.
It has.
Now, we do full haunt reviews at Garbage Horror. And we have, I think, 4 of them up already. No, we have 5 of them. We have all but the last 3 up already.
Right.
And we're recording those probably later today. And we'll have
because we just finished going to them.
Yeah, we just finished it this weekend. So check out the reviews there. But what I do want to talk about, and we're going to talk about some of the good and the bad, I'm sure, but also kind of themes we've noticed, things we're observing.
Yeah.
And just general, sort of what the pattern of the season has been for us, at least here in southeast Louisiana, southern Louisiana in general. I don't think we have not left the state yet.
No. Furthest we've gone is Lafitte.
Yep, gone to Lafayette. We've done Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. So basically all along I-10
and Lafitte.
And Lafitte, and basically all along I-10 in southern Louisiana.
Yep.
So the first haunt we visited was the Mortuary.
Yes.
Which is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. Kudos to that, guys. That's great news. And they're returning with kind of a greatest hits thing. Mm-hmm. Where they're bringing back little elements from their previous years. And bring back the best parts, so to speak. And that actually seemed to work pretty darn well.
Yeah, I liked that they didn't have a specific theme.
Yeah, it worked well for them.
Yeah. Because usually one of the things that I have a problem with is that they'll say that they have a theme, and like 2 rooms will be the theme, and then they'll just drop it completely. It doesn't run throughout the whole thing.
Like what they did with that Cirque de Fear thing in 2012.
Yeah.
Where they had this whole carnival theme, and the sections that were applicable to it were not up to their standard.
Yeah.
Because for the thing with the Haunted Mortuary, and I know we have different audiences here between this and Garbage Horror, so backtrack a little bit. They are in an actual old mortuary.
Right.
It's a historic building. This thing looks completely badass outside.
Yeah.
And it looks badass inside without building any haunty stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very, very cool historic building. So everything looks amazing. And when they went back and tried to circify it?
I think you got it right the first time.
Circify it. It just looked poorly done. It looked out of place.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't use a lot of their creative side that year.
Yeah.
And there were issues. And like I said, the theme was dropped because it was a cabinet of curiosities, and then circus for 2 or 3 rooms, and then vampires, and then swamp things, and then chainsaw with a clown.
Yeah, it was a very, very bizarre year.
Yeah.
This year, I think, was much more solid by not putting themselves into a theme.
Right.
And making the theme just the Haunted Mortuary.
Yeah.
They did a really, really good job of giving themselves the flexibility they needed to make this sort of come together without, having to have a central theme. And that's one of the things I've always believed, is that haunts need themes, but they should have themes that allow them to explore and be creative.
Right.
A lot of haunts out there build these themes that are so narrow and so focused that they either have to go off theme or just be completely monotone through the entire attraction.
Right.
Do something that allows you to be creative, not just within the year, but year after year after year, and try new things and have new, ideas flowing. So that to me was a very, very interesting part of the Mortuary, that you're seeing it actually kind of come together like that. It was a lot of fun, and like I said, I think they actually did a good job. And we always go to them first because they have a ridiculously early opening date.
Yeah.
It's usually early to maybe early mid-September they open.
Right.
They're usually open like 2 weeks before anybody else in our area.
Which makes it easy for us to go. They also have really great discounts that first weekend. So, that's helpful for, people who go to 8 haunts.
8 haunts in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
On a budget. Yeah,
and we do pay for our tickets at almost every place. We've been offered free tickets once. Not this year, but...
Yeah. The general rule is we go there with debit card or credit card or cash or whatever in hand.
Yeah. You can see our episode about
haunt reviews.
Haunt reviewers.
Yeah. But just to recap the rule, we go there with debit card or cash in hand.
Yeah.
We are prepared to pay. We will pay if asked.
Yep.
And
we
will pay.
We expect to pay.
We expect to pay, but if we are offered free tickets, we are not going to stand there and get into a shouting match.
No.
Over turn. We will disclose it, however, when we do the review.
Right.
That's our rule. So and that seems to be the best way to do it, because it's the minimum drama route.
Yeah.
You know
so,
what I mean?
like, for Mortuary's discount tickets for their first weekends, like $15 versus $25.
Yeah, I think it was 20 versus 30 this year, I believe.
Okay.
And it's still a better deal. And plus, we were able to get additional discounts for tweeting and sharing the buying. And that actually, basically, that covered the surcharge for buying online.
Right.
Which, you know how I feel about that surcharge to begin with.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on, we'll talk. Next is Rise in Hammond, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Now, this one's an interesting one, as we talked about in our review, because they actually suffered very severe damage in the flooding in southeast Louisiana.
Right. They took on 18 inches of water.
Yeah. They were the only haunt in the area that we're aware of that was directly impacted by it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bizarre because people think like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, both in southeast Louisiana, the flooding basically happened mostly between the cities and the eastern side of Baton Rouge.
Right.
But it didn't actually impact downtown Baton Rouge, where 13th Gate is, and it didn't impact New Orleans at all.
Right.
So, yeah, it like kicked a field goal between the New Orleans and Baton Rouge haunts and got Rise.
Yep.
So the result of that is they had kind of a stunted opening because of that. They were struggling a little bit. They were apparently drying out and working to get it in order right up until the last minute.
Right, and part of the haunt community is that we all do help each other out, and 13th Gate did take some of their big blower fans
for the
claustrophobia tunnels to help dry them out.
Yeah, those are some mammoth fans. If you've never actually seen them, that will dry out your house. I guarantee you. That will dry some stuff out.
Yeah.
It also make your house sound like it's taking off, I bet, but that type of space.
Yep.
But
anyway,
that was very nice of them to do that.
Yeah. So but the other problem with them getting flooded is that they have a new attraction called the Asylum that was 2 weeks late in opening. In fact, I think maybe this weekend.
I'm actually checking their Facebook as we do this to see if they have opened it yet, because that's where they'll post it.
Right.
If I know these guys.
Right, because we weren't aware of it.
Yeah.
So we went on either opening or the weekend after opening.
We went opening night. It was opening night.
It was opening night for them. It was the second weekend for 13th
No,
Gate.
second night. It was second night.
Okay. Yeah. So we went there and found out that they had another one. So we're trying to plan a trip with a lot of our actors actually to go there.
Yeah. And for us, it'll be primarily about doing the Asylum.
Right.
I don't really feel the need to do the Haunt or the Zombie Paintball again.
Right.
But, we'll bring some cash and we'll do some concessions and other stuff. There's other stuff to do there.
Yeah.
That we almost never do, because the thing about Rise is we did Rise and 13th Gate in the same run. We're usually hitting Rise like we're robbing the place.
Yeah.
We're going to be honest.
Yeah.
It's really a hit and run. But we do take the time out for it every year, it seems.
Yep.
And like I said, this year, I would not have noticed they had flood damage.
No.
I would not if they hadn't told us.
No, and the other thing is if it's just weathering. It's natural weathering in a haunted house.
Yeah, but there was no mildew smell. There was none of the telltale stuff. We're from New Orleans. We know what flooded houses look and smell like.
Yeah.
We know. We live in a region with a great deal of expertise in this area, unfortunately.
Right.
So we know, but it didn't have. I would not have pegged it as having had any water whatsoever if they had not told us very clearly. And so they did a great job getting it back in order. It was a solid season for them, and because one thing that was interesting was because they were opening the other attraction, they had the actors for it.
Right.
But since the attraction wasn't ready because of the damage, they moved all those actors into Rise.
Yeah.
And Rise became super, super dense with actors.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome experience.
It was.
That part of it was excellent.
I wish that they would keep that, actually, because I got to see every scare the way it was built and supposed to work.
And you had actors working in tandem, doing distract and startle for one another. You had teamwork. You had I don't think I've ever been to a haunt and said, you know what, they have too many actors.
No.
And that's one thing I was realizing is it's like, well, Rise literally doubled up on actors.
Yeah.
And it felt full, but it didn't feel like too many either.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe there's a lesson there. Maybe that someone said, "Get James when James comes back. Talk with him about that because it's interesting how that is. It did not feel over full.
Right.
I never went, well, God damn, will these people leave me alone?
No.
No, it felt really great and was really interesting to watch them work in tandem and how they were strategizing and really communicating.
Right, and it also showed that whenever they were building it, they intentionally left some places that were scare-free zones.
Yeah.
So that you could recover from all the scares.
Yeah. Really, really good pacing there.
Yep.
See, after that, we did hit the 13th Gate and Necropolis 13.
Right.
This is weird because, like, for us, 13th Gate feels like the most home haunt we have, like the most, like our home. Like, we want to live there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm speaking poorly right now.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a home haunt.
No.
No. Quite the opposite.
It's like movie sets.
It's movie sets and stuff. It's quite the opposite of that. It's the haunt we feel most at home in.
Yeah.
Because of those beautiful sets and of everything else. It's like I said, there's the pumpkin room that I've always wanted just to pull out a sleeping bag and rest in and spend the night in. But this year they were not, because part of it is the 13th Gate has such high expectations.
Right.
They are so good and so amazing that they have such high expectations that this year they just seem to fall a little bit short.
Yeah, and they still changed some.
Yes.
But what they changed from and to was not a big improvement.
Well, no, and the thing about it for me is we talk a lot about haunt tone on this podcast, and about how if you're gonna have a cheesy amateurish home haunt, that's fine. That can be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
As long as you've got creative scares, as long as you're doing something interesting with it, it can look like it was designed by 6-year-olds,
right?
And still be an amazing time.
Yeah.
They have always shot for the really high end.
Right.
They've always shot for the super high quality, the movie sets. Come film your movie here. That's one of their side businesses, like you said. Come shoot your film here. Come walk through our Hollywood quality sets. The new parts were not up to their own standard.
No.
They did not feel like they met that bar.
Nope.
And one of the bigger new parts was a rehash of a gag they had elsewhere in the haunt.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that section.
The thing about it is this, is we know that they spent a lot of time and attention on their escape rooms this year.
Yeah, and that's an upcoming episode alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do think that the escape room model, while it's more viable for a year-round business, which is great.
Yes. No one's complaining about year-round business.
I have to wonder how many haunts are focusing on that and losing some of their main business, or if this is going to be the main business now, and the haunts are going to suffer.
Yeah, because running a haunted house, a professional haunted house, is a 12-month-a-year venture.
Yeah.
You need, for practical purposes, you need to be in there working on it, building on it, growing it every, maybe not every day, but you need to be doing it every week of the year.
Right.
You can't just show up in September and build. I'm not saying that's what they did, but you have to drive all that attention and love into it year round. And when you divert some of that away to another venture, it shows.
It does.
It really shows. And I'm looking forward. We are going to do the 13th Gate escape room soon.
Yeah.
Probably sometime in winter.
Right.
We're going to bring some family down. We're going to get maybe some of the actors together. We're going to form a team, and we're going to do this.
Right. Yeah, and we've got several escape rooms in the area.
Yeah, we got like 5 we want to hit. So we're going to be busy with this. It's going to be very expensive, but we're going to do it. And the main thing about it for us is, we want to see how these are keeping up with in terms of the quality compared to the haunted attractions. Are the haunts really sacrificing their haunts to make these escape rooms, or are they able to keep them and work on them in tandem without really losing any ground?
Right.
And I mean, from 13th Gate, but 13th Gate, by the way, openly admitted this to us, that the haunt suffered this year.
Yeah.
And it's still a great haunt. If you haven't been to the 13th Gate, by the love of God, go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't go to the 13th Gate, especially if you've never been. Holy cow, that'd be the dumbest thing you could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're someone that regularly goes to it, this may not be the shining year.
Yeah, go and check out the new escape room.
Yeah, check out the new escape rooms instead.
Yeah.
And speaking of 13th Gate, the other attraction they have on site, the Necropolis 13.
Right.
This is their New Orleans-style cemetery haunted attraction.
Right.
Which I always find it very weird as a New Orleanian to go to other towns, and not even like outside, even outside Louisiana.
Yeah.
And go to their cemeteries and their New Orleans-style cemeteries.
Well, of course, because they're great for actors. Because you can't hide all your actors in the ground.
And behind little tombstones.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't think it would be very effective.
I don't think it would. Yeah.
So it's called Cities of the Dead for a reason, because they're actual little houses looking things. So.
Yeah. But I would like to say that Night of the Living Dead was not based in the New Orleans cemetery.
Yes.
No, fair. But yeah, this I don't believe got much of anything new this year. Once again.
Yeah, there were a few new actor holes. The way that Necropolis 13 is built, I see it as being very hard to add anything new to.
Yeah. It's an outdoor attraction, eh?
Yeah.
It's a almost fully outdoor attraction.
Yeah, it feels more permanent. It really does.
It does. It really, really does. And I will say, I do enjoy going through this. Something for our listeners. The cemetery, if you go through it and if you're paying attention to the names, you will find the names of many people in the haunted attraction industry on the various tombs.
Right.
Like Leonard Pickle is a very prominent one in there.
Yeah, I know.
I think Larry Kirchner has one too.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of big names in the industry have tombs in that attraction. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's a little inside thing that we're always playing that game trying to spot the tombs.
Right.
Every time we go through it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I do recommend
and if you haven't been to it, go.
But yeah, the order of priority for the work is obviously escape rooms, 13th Gate, Necropolis 13.
Yeah.
And
at least for
this year. And it may change. I mean, like, when Necropolis 13 first opened, it was the primary focus.
Right.
They can pivot, they can change, and they probably will, I suspect, once the escape rooms get more settled. But still, where the work goes in a haunted attraction does really show to the customers, I believe.
Yeah, especially if your customers are repeat customers.
Now, one thing we will be talking about in a future episode, in fact, it's already been kind of roughed into the schedule, is haunt security.
Right.
Because, and one of the reasons we were inspired to talk about that was because 13th Gate added a metal detector.
Yes.
The least effective use of a metal detector I think I've seen.
Yeah.
Because the people were just passing bags around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a
completely
separate episode. But just be warned. Okay, the only new haunt we visited so far this year, we got more new haunts coming.
Right.
Because apparently there's some new haunts opening this year that are only opening like the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So we're trying to get all of the haunts that are open for the full season out of the way.
Right.
And then so we can go to these. But we visited Fright Trail in Lafayette, Louisiana. Or, I'm sorry, Scott, Louisiana.
Yes.
As they're quick to remind you, but it's Lafayette.
Yeah.
Just give it up. It's Lafayette.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so that was interesting. It was their 5th year.
Yep.
They're an outdoor trail hunt. It's...
If the name were not a clue, I'm just...
Yeah. Well, sometimes we use misnomers in this industry.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, it is an outdoor hunt. it's interesting because you buy your tickets on one side of a very busy, very fast road.
Yeah.
And then the cops have to stop traffic so you can cross over to the haunt.
Yeah, I have never received a police escort to the front door of a haunted house.
Yeah.
It's a very, very weird thing. You know, as we talked about in the review, I think the most interesting thing from what haunters can learn from this is flow.
Yeah.
They had a lot of really good scares, a lot of really good builds.
Right.
And it was kind of a little bit of a shame that our group seemed determined to blow through all of it.
Yeah.
Like, really reckless abandon. And it wasn't just our group from the looks of things.
No, because several others all conga line together by the end of it. The other thing that was really interesting was the queue line.
Yes. I do think a lot of haunts can learn from their queue line. Because, okay, let's forget about the part on the wrong side of the track, wrong side of the street here.
Yeah.
Where you're buying your ticket, you get waved on by the police. Once you get across, there is the actual queue line.
Right.
And they pulled a trick from Disney on this. Mm-hmm. Because the queue line A is incredibly long. And you have to walk through the whole thing, even if there's like 5 people waiting.
Right.
But the queue line includes 2 animatronics.
Yep.
3 line actors that I can recall. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4, might have been 4.
Right.
2 separate buildings, a rules shack, which has a startle from a line actor, and a selfie shack,
right,
which is where we filmed our little garbage horror promo.
Yep.
And like I said, and there's just tons of stuff to do.
Yeah. You're
not wanting for things to look at or do, you know, as you're going through this queue. So I honestly, even though we waited probably longer than I would have normally been comfortable with in a line.
Yeah.
For a haunt, especially considering that it wasn't completely slammed, I never really felt bad about it.
Yeah, we weren't bored. We were looking at all the stuff.
We were watching the actors work. We're looking at the animatronics. We're checking out the selfie shack. We're doing things. You know, we're being active. And you compare that to, like, you know, Rise is kind of the opposite approach. They basically have a pallet fence, you know, cattle gate system.
Right.
And that's it. It's outside of a metal building in rural Louisiana. And they sometimes have line actors working out there, but that's realistically it.
Well, and that's what most of
haunts do, yeah.
The haunts do.
Yeah.
It's not just Rise, but Rise would be a prime place to build this style of line queue because they have so much land. That you could have little shacks to walk through and little startles.
Yeah, they could easily do this. And these are guys that are not scared of big projects at Rise.
No.
Judging from what they did this year. These are not guys that are scared of big projects. So I could see them doing it.
Right, me too.
But yeah, the queue line from Fright Trail was really, really interesting. And I think it's a great case study for haunters everywhere. And we should add that Rise does have more once you get into the building.
Right.
But then it's TVs and a selfie room type thing.
Yeah.
So it's still not as big or as boisterous as what Fright Trail did.
Right. And the selfie room in Rise, just one little quick note here. It needs just a tiny bit more light. We can't use it without a flash.
That is one thing I realized as you said it was the selfie room at Fright Trail was lit.
Yeah.
Really bright. And I remember thinking that was weird when we walked into it, but yet you just...
Yeah.
You made it click.
Yeah, because...
You want people to take good photos in it.
Yeah, I would love to get the atmosphere of the Rise little selfie thing. It's not really a shack, but it's a selfie room. I would love to get that, but you can't do it because it's just tiny bit too dark for the cameras.
And if you're going to use your cell phone camera especially, you have to use flash, and that wrecks it.
Oh, yeah. You totally lose the atmosphere.
It becomes like a white blur, and
yeah.
As every haunter knows, every haunt looks not so good in really, really bright light.
Well, not every haunt.
But it doesn't look as good.
Okay.
You need
Fair
the lighting,
enough.
You need the atmosphere. It's a part of it.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, I agree. Rise, if you're listening to this, please consider lighting it just a smidge higher.
Yep.
You know, maybe some fake candles, you know, something to get extra light in there without destroying the ambiance of it.
Yeah.
Okay, after Fright Trail, we went to Chamber of Horrors. This is a haunt we'd actually volunteered at one point. And we've acted in for several years.
About 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, we were there for a long time. Back when they were in Laplace. We have not done anything with them since they moved into Jefferson, Louisiana, which is basically New Orleans.
Right.
We talked about how the work you put into the haunt year-round shows.
Right.
That's true here.
Yeah, because previous years, they are actually inside of a shopping center in a rental space.
Yeah, basically an old grocery store, I believe it is.
Yeah. And so previous years, they had to tear down and rebuild every year. This year, they were allowed to stay in the building for the year, and it really does show. They fixed a lot of the issues they had.
Yeah, and the issues, of course, stem from having to build it in record time.
Right. I think they had like 6 weeks.
Yeah, so it's a crazy amount of time to build a haunted attraction. So, of course, they have light leaks.
Right.
Because they don't have a proper ceiling. Of course, they have, rooms that are sparsely decorated.
Right, and this is previous years. This year,
yeah. We
were really impressed.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the work shows, they've found more actors. It feels longer than it is, which is a great benefit for any haunt to be able to pull off.
Yeah. I believe the timer on it was not particularly long, but it did feel longer, as you said. They were able to extend it. They were able to redesign some of the rooms they had with more prop-based layout to extend the walkthrough of them, and also add actor hiding spots. They also added actors, which helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a big difference between working on a haunt for 6 to 8 weeks and 52 weeks.
Right. And there's at least 4, maybe 5 new rooms to go through.
Yeah.
And they all are done very, very well.
It was a lot of fun, and like I said, lesson for haunters from them is that the work shows.
Yeah.
When you're able to spend the 11 months you're not open.
Right.
Building, working, fine-tuning, and growing, and improving the haunt, it really does show on the other side.
Yeah.
The elbow grease, I think, shows more than the money. Almost any day. House of Shock, with the big daddy in New Orleans, if you will. Once again, the elbow grease shows.
Yeah. Basically, it looks like they finished what they started last year.
Now, last year was a weird year for them.
Right.
They were supposed to close the year prior.
Right. They weren't sure if they were going to be open.
So they did the big swan song. They came out. They said their goodbyes. And almost immediately after announcing that, they started trying to find ways to reopen.
Right.
And that kind of aggravated a lot of people, especially people that made special trips to see the final year of the House of Shock.
Right.
But they were able to get an investor. They were able to get back in the game.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to rebuild the haunt, essentially, in a couple of months' time.
Right.
It was like 2 or 3 months' time. I don't know how long it was. Right. It was not long.
And they had torn down significant portions of it.
Yeah. And they actually built 2... I struggle to call them a new attractions because they're not separate tickets.
Right.
But new themed areas.
Yeah, mini sections.
One was a bordello of freaks, and the other is a 3D clown thing akin to what you see in The Darkness in St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah, considering the time they had, I'm bloody impressed that they got it open at all.
Right.
And it didn't feel incomplete last year.
No.
It felt like a perfectly well-built haunted house.
A little bit rushed. Because we did go on opening night, because we have to do that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we
know it's unfair.
We know it's unfair, but it's our schedule talking.
Yeah. But yeah, this year they finished fleshing it out, and it's a lot of fun to go through.
Yeah, and this is the thing. There's nothing that was like, wow, this is new to me. This is hugely, vastly new.
Right.
But there were a million little things that were new and improved throughout. Nothing that I can say that animatronic, that whole sequence was brand new. There were a couple parts that were new, but nothing really mouth-droppingly unexpected.
Right.
The real work, the real elbow grease, like I said, was in fine-tuning what they had, improving it, working a lot on makeup and masks.
Right.
And generally speaking, doing a lot of just finishing the job, I think.
Yeah.
I think this is what they wanted to open last year, honestly.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised by that.
No. And I will say that I wish there were a way to buy a ticket to skip the stage show.
Yes.
Because most of the time you spend there is in line waiting for the stage show to happen so that you can go into the haunt.
Yeah. And for those that aren't familiar with it, which may be some, because I think the House Shock's reputation nationally is pretty fleshed out, but they do a pyrotechnic stage show. I think it's every hour.
Yeah.
But while the stage show and sideshow mat is on and all that, the line is not moving.
Yeah.
There is no progress, there's no throughput into the haunt.
Right.
So for upwards of a third to half the time the haunt is open, no one's going in it.
Right. Because we got there at 9:30 and didn't get out of there until 11:45.
11:50 or so. And basically that the whole time was spent watching the stage show, going through the haunt, buying a soda on the way out, and getting a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was
over an hour in line.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that's bad for them because they're not making money off people in line.
No.
Yeah, we paid our ticket, but we're not buying drinks.
We would have loved to have gotten a drink in line, but all they were offering were shots.
Yeah. And this is also an interesting element of it, too, considering what we talked about just a few minutes ago, was House of Shock is one of the few haunts that serves alcohol on premise.
Right.
And we did notice a problem with drunk patrons.
Yeah.
But I will say this, there was an incident in the House of Shock where someone had a medical emergency. Yeah. And the staff and everyone there did the absolute best. You know, they were on it. Yeah. They handled it well. We were glad to help try to get the line to stop trying to push forward. We did a little bit, but the staff was really on point with that. Yep. And that was really impressive. And the final haunt we visited was the Lafitte Fire Department Haunted House in Lafitte, Louisiana. Right. Which is, and no one seems to believe me when I say these words, about 20 miles south of New Orleans. Yeah. I say that and people go, what? They're south of New Orleans? Yes. Yes. There is. There's significant terrain south of New Orleans. Yep.
It's not the southernmost point of Louisiana.
Not by a long shot. Not by like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah. Although some places in Louisiana will teach you that in school. Yeah. So.
Louisiana public education.
Exactly.
But this is a charity haunt put on by the local volunteer fire department. Right. They do this to support various local initiatives, from a Christmas parade they do, to a scholarship program, to fire education.
And they also do donations to, it's a specific type of cancer research. Yeah. So, I mean, the money that goes
all kinds of awesome places. And by the way, we should also note Fright Trail was a charity haunt, too, for Literacy Inc. We forgot to mention that. Yeah. I just remember that. Literacy Inc., because nothing is scarier than not knowing how to read. Yep. I love that tagline. I do, I'm going to abuse the hell out of it. Yep. But anyways, yeah, Lafitte was closed last year. They had some operational issues that prevented them from opening. Right. But they were open this year. The thing about them we've always loved is, I find that when haunts don't have a lot of money, and sometimes don't have a lot of time to build. Right. They can't just like throw their money at expensive props and constructing. They've got to get creative. Yes. Lafitte has always been super silly creative.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their claustrophobia tunnel one year was inflating the fireman's raft things.
Yeah, I think they were the inflatable waterproofing, like you put around a building.
Yeah. A dam. Inflatable dam.
Inflatable dams you can put around buildings during a flood. Right.
So we had to go through that. We've also seen the Jaws of Life used in this haunted house. It's pretty awesome.
It is a really, really unique haunted experience. Yeah. On one hand, it takes me back to like the JC and the Boy Scout haunts you used to go to. They used to be really popular in like the 80s and 90s. And on the other, it's like these guys have all the scary equipment. Yes. Jaws of Life, they have 80 bajillion chainsaws, if that's your thing. Maybe a little bit overuse on the chainsaws, but yeah. But they've got all this scary equipment, and so it's really fun that way. This year, they switched construction types. which haunters know how difficult that is. They were previously a tarp tunnel system, almost exclusively, which was very, very quick to get up and tear down.
Right, a tarp tunnel that led from the fire station, out to their burn house.
The burn building, yeah.
The burn building, where they do the drills.
Yeah. Because they have a training tower and a burn building there, the burn building is very maze-like. I gotta give them that. But the point of the matter was, this year they went for panel-based construction for the most of it.
Right.
Which, I think is a very good move for a slew of reasons. One of the biggest being panels are reusable.
Yeah.
If they store these, if they put them somewhere, they can pull them out next year and not have to redo all that work.
Right, and you can build them year-round.
Yeah. You can just have a panel building party at your house.
Yes.
At so-and-so's house or at the fire station or whatever.
Yep.
That being said, I think the haunt portion this year, even though they say it was longer, it felt more sparse to me.
Yeah.
Because they put more emphasis on their blackout maze.
Right.
And just go back to our talk about mazes and haunts.
Yeah.
And you'll know how we feel there.
Yeah. Now, I will say I did not mind their blackout maze that much. And the reason is because it was heavily advertised, that it was extended. And so I knew I was prepared to go through a maze.
Yes.
And they did it very well.
Yeah, it's up there with like Waterloo and so forth in Illinois. I think it might be the best blackout maze I've been to.
The Waterloo maze I did not like at all. There were no actors in it. You just had to find your way out.
Yeah,
this one had at least 3 actors.
And they were playing some pretty creative jokes too, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, you know.
My favorite is when the 3 actors team together and they conga lined a little bit like with each other. And they started saying, "Is that another group?"
Yeah.
And so I knew Crystal had gone in before me.
Right.
Because we went in, we brought our whole crew down, basically. We brought I think 11 people.
11 people.
Not our whole crew, but a lot of them. And so I'm like, "Oh, Crystal, is that you?" And then when there goes, "Not Crystal," it's like, "Oh,
with a flashlight on
his chin." Like, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah.
That's dirty pool.
You just got us an explicit rating.
But yeah, so they do it very creatively, but it still feels like these guys are so imaginative.
Yeah.
I think the stuff they do in the haunt part always stands out more for me.
Yeah, they have a meat grinder sequence that's awesome.
Yeah, everyone knows that old gag with the table that's sloped and you have someone pretend to be cut in half and blood and guts and all that. Yeah, they have their own take on that this year that was really imaginative.
Yeah.
And the kid in that was on point, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, the main thing is this: if you don't have the budget to go really big with your sets and your designs, that's fine. Go really super creative.
Yeah, creative and a little cheesy. It works.
It all works, and you can be very, very scary. In fact, I think it was Kyle who was talking about how he goes to a haunt like the 13th Gate or the House of Shock, and he feels safe.
Yeah.
Because everything's so professionally built that nothing can go wrong.
Right.
He goes to a little haunt like ours, apparently, and it feels immediately dangerous because, oh my God, this was put together by a bunch of, a bunch of wackos.
Yeah.
So it feels more dangerous. You don't need those high-end sets sometimes, but you do need the TLC, and you do need the creativity.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess the takeaway for me so far has been the amount of work that goes into the haunt year round really comes out the backside.
Right.
This year's been very illustrative of that. We knew that, we all knew that, but it's kind of interesting to get a very, very good direct case study.
Right. And the other thing is that it looks like a lot of people are into Halloween this year.
Yeah.
The lines seem to be longer everywhere.
Yeah, every haunt we've spoken to has had either records or near record years in our region.
So far, for just the first 2 weeks,
yeah. Yeah, and just looking at the first few weeks. And so if they can carry that momentum through the rest of the season, it's going to be a good season for at least locally. I don't know about elsewhere in the country.
Yep.
But here in southern Louisiana, it looks like a pretty good year. So yeah, some interesting lessons, some interesting thoughts. I'll say this, usually one of the reasons we go to all these haunts as we're working on ours is sometimes we're looking for inspiration. Maybe not something to do this year.
Yeah.
But something that maybe we can think of a way to make our own in a future year. I haven't had that moment yet with anything.
No.
Not particularly, but, you know, I've still seen a lot of really great stuff that I've really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the haunts we're going to. I think we have 3 or 4 more at least we're scheduled to go to.
Yeah, if we're able to. So we've got a lot left to do with this. Mm-hmm. And we'll do a wrap-up of the full haunt season, I'm sure, after we're done with everything sometime in November. But yeah, it's been a very, very good haunt season overall, and I'm really excited to see what these new guys that are opening up, both here locally and in the region. I think we'll be going to Mississippi, possibly Alabama. Right.
So yeah, in the region too, are doing. Well, anything else you want to add?
No.
Any final thoughts?
The one here in New Orleans, it's open. It seems like it might be more theater based.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting hybrid event.
That's been a trend I've noticed. It's not just here locally. It's also the one in Poplarville, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Theater groups are getting in on the haunted attraction business direct. Because it used to be haunted attractions would just recruit from theater groups, get their actors. But now it seems like the theater groups are doing it themselves.
Yeah.
At least locally. So that's going to be very interesting. Like you, I'm very curious how those two are going to be.
Yep.
Well, that's all I've got. Yep. So, on that note, everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly, episode number 45. Our haunt season so far. We'll be back next week.